The Francis Crick Institute is a very large biomedical research facility. So the scientists here are looking for cures for cancers, influenzas, heart disease. You know, the ambitions and the goals of the institution are to ultimately find cures for those one day. The Crick is of a scale that it is to allow non-similar science disciplines to work under the same roof. So the idea of almost a campus type building. Those reasons allow then the scientists to come into contact with each other or with colleagues they may not normally see, and hopefully spark innovation that will help to develop cures.
I think as we are starting to dig deeper and larger basements, there are always constraints all the way around the site. On the Francis Crick, we had a railway station on one side, we had a pumping station on the other side owned by the British Library, and we had two cast iron gas mains, 120 years old, only a foot away from our retaining wall, serving the whole of Camden Town. So really it's about being able to predict the likely movement of those third-party assets, and to make sure that we monitor the movement during the construction, so that we are absolutely clear with those third parties that their assets will not be in any way damaged, and if there's any risk of that, we mitigate that damage during the construction.
I think for me the biggest challenges personally for this building was simply trying to get my head around the scale of what we were trying to tackle here. You know, 1 million square foot is a very, very big building, and you know, whilst we've delivered projects like that, they can become more tangible because they're skyscrapers or airports. To apply that topology to a lab space where actually there's not that many occupants, you know, is something that was quite, for me, took a while to understand just how the building's going to be operated, how it was going to be populated, you know. And what I feel nice about now when I walk around the spaces is that it does feel quite lively. It does feel like those spaces don't feel cavernous or sparse, that people feel like that, you know, the spaces feel nice. They're like they've got a buzz in them that one hopes these scientists are talking to each other and hopefully finding those amazing discoveries.
We also employed off-site manufacturing techniques, so the majority of the concrete frame that we're standing in today is all formed by precast concrete. And precast concrete design in laboratories is very unusual because a laboratory such as this one is designed for very stringent vibration limits. And the fact that you have a joint between two precast panels means that the floor slabs are slightly less stiff, and that causes us engineers a real problem. So when we designed this building, we did an awful lot of first principles research into looking at how those joints would affect the vibration performance of this building, and basically being able to mitigate that within our design. And as far as we know, this is one of the only prefabricated concrete frames for life science buildings of this vibration magnitude, certainly in Europe.
You know, the engineering that went into constructing the basement was a real two-way conversation between the design team and the builder about what was the best way to approach it. Now, the engineering team had done a lot of work to figure out what was probably the best solution, but then we needed help from those specialists to understand how we would go about constructing it on the day, as it were. And it was an enormous undertaking.